Hello. Most of my videos are hmm, things that I just enjoy doing. I'm not going to say there's any rhyme or reason to some of the things I do. I mean, I'd say the topic all is related to technology and little things that interest me, things that I find, things that I think are worth sharing, and some I'm just like, I decided to turn the camera on and share this with the world. This is another one of those situations where I'm sure somebody can immediately be like, oh, well, this is this because of that. And that might be the case. But one thing that I've been doing since I fortunately have phones that all use the same charger, not including that stupid iPhone that I have various USB-C chargers around my room up here. Got one over here close to where I sleep. I have two over there on the desk where I work. I have another one over close to the television. And I, for the most part, really didn't see much of a difference. I said, okay, well, I know this one over here is super slow because it's a simple 5 watt one, and everything else is just faster. But last week, I decided to part ways with my M1 MacBook Air, and I was using that charger to charge all the cell phones over here where you can't see. But it was I believe it's a simple 30 watt little charging block with the Apple cable that came with it. And yeah, it charged fast enough. Again, faster than what my little 5 watt one over here was. But I wasn't really sure if I noticed a speed difference between that 30 watt charger and some of the higher wattage ones. I was about to say faster chargers because because in intuitively that probably would make sense, but I don't know if higher wattage necessarily means faster. And I stumbled across something when I parted ways with that MacBook, and I decided to put another charging block over there. And it happened to be the 30 watt charger that came with my Asus Zenfone 9. So I plug it up, and I noticed that the text on the screen was a little different than it was with the previous MacBook charger or even some of the higher power chargers that I have over there. Some might say, "Oh, well, it's power delivery, so it does whatever." And I'm like, it might be part of it, but I do have a port on my dock over there that is a power delivery port, and it does not say the same thing on the phone screen when I use that particular port. So what I decided to do, or what I'm going to do now, because I haven't actually done it, is I'm going to play around with these chargers and start with the lowest wattage one and go all the way up to the highest wattage one. I believe they range from 5 watts all the way up to 130 watts. And if I could, I will pause this and turn the video around. All right, now over here on the ground, I have my little 5 watt brick, which I believe it's 5 watt. It's really hard to see the text, but I'm going to assume it low watt. We call it whatever it is. Nothing super special. And then I have this is the 30 watt one that came with the Zenfone 9. See any branding on here? Yep, there's a little bit of branding right there. Asus. There it is. Boom, perfect. Oh, 30 watts. And let me just verify. I'll verify off camera later. Then I bought this a while ago. This is a 45 watt charger from Dell. And yeah, you can see it right there. It says 45 watts. Whoop. And focus. There we go. 45 watts. In this box, I have not opened it yet, but it's the typical 65 watt charger that comes with a lot of Lenovo ThinkPads. So we got that. I'm going to go out of order just because they all just happen to be here. In editing, I guess I'll put everything where it needs to be. This is a 90 watt Dell charger, and when I have everything unraveled, I'll be sure to do a better job of showing things. But this is a 90 watt charger. This little guy right here is a 100 watt charger. It's 196. Sorry, yeah, it's 96 watts from Apple. This came with the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Over here, and I know I have more stuff than I need to, and this is the Sony camera that I sometimes use. I won't be using that today. But what I have is an Anker dock, and the port that plugs into the laptop, which I actually have over here, this delivers 85 watts, I believe. So I'll test this as well. And then there is a power delivery port over here, which it's kind of hard to see the little PD. Oh, you can see it. Yeah, PD right there. I believe that delivers only 18 watts. And then this little guy is another Dell charger, and I might fish down there at the bottom to show, but it is 130 watts, I believe. And in fact, you know what? Let's go down there to confirm. See, it's bright enough down here. And here's the big boy. And let's see, does it? Yep, right there. Do we have enough light? 130 watts. All right. So I am going to test these in order and see if I notice any differences. All right. And I should be clear. This is not oh, how long does it take for these phones to charge? Because I'm not wasting that much time. It's just showing that, higher wattage doesn't necessarily mean it will charge faster. So I'm using two phones. I have my Samsung Galaxy S23 right here, and this is the Zenfone 9. And if I will, let me plug them in. And this is going to be a little janky, so please bear with me. So it is plugged in, and it simply shows that it's charging, okay? Nothing special, but says that it is charging. And let me just illuminate the screen one more time, and simply says charging. Okay, cool. I have plugged in the Galaxy S23, and down at the bottom, it didn't say anything special. 56%. In fact, let me do that one more time. And it says just charging. Okay, I know it was kind of brief right there. I hate that it was so fast, but there it is, charging. Nothing special at all. Now over here, we are doing the 18-watt charger, and let's see if I can get a good focus. There we go. And instead of me trying to plug it in, let me just turn on the dock. Fast charge. Great. Okay. So 18 watts means fast charging. Cool. And turn it off. So now I have the Galaxy plugged in. Let's see what we get on the screen. Oh. All right, we are back. This cable has always been janky. I probably should have returned it a while ago, but all I did was just flip the ends of it. So we have it plugged in. Okay, see, it wasn't doing that a second ago. Hold on. All right, we are back. I'm using a different cable. Turn it on. And it just says regular charging. So that is interesting. All right, now we have the Asus 30-watt charging brick. So I already have it plugged in, and I'm going to flip on the power strip. And see hypercharge. That's hypercharge 30. So that's pretty interesting. I thought it was hypercharge 30. And here we are with the Galaxy S23. Super fast charging. Okay, and then again, this is the 30-watt charging brick from Asus. So we had hypercharge for the Zenfone 9 and super fast charging for the Galaxy. And let's just see that one more time. So turn it off, turn it back on. Super fast charging. This is the 45-watt brick from Dell. As before, we have it turned off. Let's turn on this power strip. And now we're back to just regular fast charging. And on to the Galaxy S23. Fast charging also. So not super fast charging like it was before. All right, this time we got the S23 first, and this is the 65-watt brick from Lenovo. Fast charging. And now we have the Zenfone 9, again with the 65-watt charging brick from Lenovo. Fast charging. We are back, and thanks to Movie Magic, you don't know that I just went to go eat my lunch. So now we are going to try an 85-watt power source. So we have the Galaxy S23 plugged in. This one's a little different, unfortunately, because of Samsung DeX. So it showed that an external display was connected. So I don't think we're going to get the results we're looking for. Let's try the Zenfone 9. So we have the Zenfone 9 connected. Let's see what we get. Fast charging. All right. We have the Galaxy connected to the Dell 90-watt charger. So let's see what we get. It's hard to see. There it is. Regular fast charging. I know it was kind of blurry. Let's see if we can do it one more time. Fast charging. Okay. And we have the Zenfone 9 connected. Fast charging. Okay. And I think at this point you can see the picture, but there's still two more that I'm going to test out. So next we are going to use this 96-watt Apple charger. All right. And first up is the Galaxy S23. And I apologize, this is the Zenfone 9. But we have fast charging. Next, we have the Galaxy S23, again 96 watts. Fast charging. There it is. And for this last one, which is the Dell 130-watt charging brick, yeah, this is going to be a little janky because I'm not reaching down there to unplug it or turn it off. So let's see if this works. Yeah. And this just says regular charging. So we got 130 watts, and this isn't even fast charging. It just said regular charging. Let's see if we can get that screen again. Yep, regular charging. And here we have the Galaxy S23. Let's go ahead and plug it in. Again, regular charging. Look how long that says it's going to take estimated. And I know that cables usually matter. So when I first used the Zenfone charging block, I had the charging block and the cable that came with the phone, which I'm sure is just some piece of crap cable. So what I'm going to do is retest these two phones with the Zenfone charging block, but then use a third-party USB-C cable. So we have it plugged in, third-party cable with the Asus Zenfone 9 charging block. Super fast. And here we again have the Zenfone 9 with the Zenfone or the Asus charging block, but a third party cable. Hypercharge 30. All right, now I forgot that I even had this little thing. This is the charging block that came with the M2 MacBook Air. This isn't the default one, but it says it is 35 watts right there. And let's see, in tiny text, can you see there is a PD something right there? So there should be kind of a power delivery type thing as well. So I'm gonna plug this in, and I know it's not 30 like the Zenfone one was, but maybe we'll get a similar response or a similar result with this particular thing. The one caveat is, even though there's two ports, I think in order to get the maximum performance, you can only charge one thing at a time. And for this test, that's all we're doing anyway. So let's see what we got. So first up is the S23, fast charging. And my guess it'll be the same thing for the Zenfone. So Zenfone 9, the Apple charger, fast charging. So, so what was the point of all this? I don't know. And what were our results? Hopefully, I'll put something on the screen right now just to show. But I I don't really know what this means because I get that of all the chargers that I used, only one of them really was made for a phone. But at the same time, they're all have the circuitry and the PCBs in there and things like that where it should just know, okay, I'm plugged into something. It requires this much amount of electricity. Let's negotiate that. I thought that's what the whole power delivery thing was. And if the port on the dock was a power delivery port, and then from the bottom, the text on the bottom of that little Apple charger, it said there was PD something, something, something. Why did those perform differently, at least in terms of what the text said on the screen compared to the Zenfone charger? I don't know. Also, it's clear that more wattage doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a fasting or faster charge. The clear standout, which I honestly didn't remember doing because I don't really use it that often, was when I plugged in that 130-watt charger, it wasn't even fast charging. It just said regular charging for both devices. So maybe there is some type of threshold, and if it's not a power delivery device, then it just kind of caps out at, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but that almost seems like what it was. That 130-watt charger would have taken just as long to charge these phones as my little 5-watt brick, according to that little preliminary test. Whereas all the other chargers were either fast charge and then the one instance of hypercharge. So one of the reasons I'm making this, though, if you got to this point, is as Apple, somehow everything comes back to Apple. As Apple switches to USB-C, yes, I think they are going to do whatever they can with and when the iPhone switches to USB-C, yes, they are going to do whatever they can in terms of the Made for iPhone program. But at some point, I do think they're going to see their sales slip a little bit for accessories. If it's, I mean, honestly, there's only really two things we're concerned about when it comes to these cables that we plug into our phones. It's charging speeds, and for everybody, for the most part, and data transfer speeds for less. If we are now seeing, and I say we, I mean, if Apple users are now seeing that, well, wait a minute, this Android charging cable also fits my iPhone now, is there really a big difference between any of these cables? I think at some point, some people are going to realize this really isn't that big of a deal. Then they'll see, okay, it sucks that I have to buy an Apple cable that looks just like my other cables that charge more than just my Android devices, so all of my laptops. Why do I need this special USB-C cable specifically for my iPhone? And I think some people might say, you know what? No, I'm just going to use what I already have. Like for me, I am using what I already have. As you can see, I have a plethora of USB-C cables. none of which are Apple cables. I mean, I have technically the two MagSafe cables, but I'm not using either one of them. So yeah, I think some people will get there. But what I'm concerned about, and this, I mean, it looks like other companies are doing it. There's something going on in this little block right here. I don't know what it is, but there is something going on in this block. And if I'm looking at the bottom, oh man, my eyes. Yeah, it just says 30 watts max, and I mean a bunch of other stuff that of course I don't really know what it means. But yeah, 30 watts max. So nowhere near the most powerful charger, um, or power adapter that I use today. So yeah, I do not know what's special about that. But I think what I was getting to is I feel Apple is going to do something at some point too, and realize that wait a minute, people need to charge their stuff, and for every cable we were selling in terms of a lightning cable, which yes, it looked different. So as a general consumer, I could understand why I want a certified cable for this device because it did look different. But now that they look the same, they might be like, oh, we need to kind of pivot and still do that, but also try to capitalize on these little guys. I mean, oh, this big daddy is for a 16-inch MacBook Pro, but it wouldn't surprise me if at some point in time Apple was like, we need to differentiate these as well as the cables. That way, your iPhone and maybe your Mac, but really your iPhone needs to be plugged into a certified cable and also a certified brick. Because if you want the best performance, you need to make sure that everything that you're using in that chain is certified. So whatever Asus did in this little thing, and yeah, it came with the phone, so I wasn't upset about it, or I am not upset about it. And in fact, I think it's kind of cool since it came with the phone. that that's a good idea. But yeah, if Apple is like, yeah, we're going to start, yeah, making sure all of our stuff is made for iPhone certified, from the phone is capable of receiving it, the cable is capable of transferring it, and the block is capable of delivering it. That's going to be another little money making thing for them. Is this going to happen? I don't know, but we'll see what happens. And like I said, when I plugged this in and I saw a hypercharge, I was like, what? I have had this phone for almost a year now, and I've never seen that because I literally just took this out of the box to use it, what, maybe about a week ago. And the reason I wasn't using it is because I was like, oh, it's the brick that came in the phone, so, or came with the phone, so there can't be anything special about this. But I am wrong. There is something special about this. So please beware that other companies too, but specifically Apple, in my opinion, will be like, we need to make more money off of this made for iPhone program. And I know they might pivot towards MagSafe. We'll see if that happens, which of course that's more money making stuff for them. But for those who choose to still plug their phones in, I don't think a lot of people are really using, like the laptop to charge. Well, I mean, if you're in a car, you might have one of those, like a car charger. But when you're at home, I can imagine when you unplug, or you have a cable and you need to move it around, you take your charging brick and the cable wherever it is that you need to go. So, this, in my opinion, is going to be another money making way for them to say, hey, you need to make sure that you have the appropriate everything to get the best performance out of charging. And, since this is the end of the video, I'm just looking at some stuff over there, and I do realize that they aren't doing it yet. And it's it's interesting to think about it. But I please correct me if I'm wrong. And I know I probably should do some research, but I know for the 16-inch MacBook Pro, I'm not sure about for the 14 or for the 13-inch MacBook Air. In order to get fast charging with that particular device, you have to use the MagSafe port. And I don't know like if this also has to be used. I mean, obviously you need something that's powerful enough to deliver enough electricity or whatever. But I don't know if I could use a different brick of similar wattage to get the fast charge for the MacBook, the 16-inch MacBook Pro. That's something I might look into. But that might just be another example of them saying, "Hey, you need to use this specific type of cable to get this done, and this specific port." Which I don't really think there's a reason that the USB-C ports on the MacBooks couldn't deliver the correct wattage, voltage, amperage, whatever it's going to be, whatever it's called. Um, but yeah, I'm concerned that they're going to try to start selling these things again. And that would be a genius move. Like, hey, we took it out of the box because everybody already had one. All right. Now we're making a switch, and now nobody has one. So we're going to sell it to you. And if you don't want to buy ours, you got to make sure you buy one that we've certified. So, yeah, be cautious out there.